Hello, we are live and welcome to the behind already between hindsight and foresight.
Okay, I do it all the time.
Awesome and amazing Leah Bailey. So I'm trying to at the same time check that technology is all working so that I can also put this into the event itself. So here we go. Bear with me, please, while I do this. We don't want to miss any golden nuggets, so let's make sure that this is all shared out properly. I hope everyone's had a lovely day. Let us know where you're watching from, if you're watching, and what you've been doing today. Meanwhile, we're going to have a sip of our celebratory drink to celebrate the launch of Leah Bailey's amazing book. Popping this into the event right now. In the commentary as I go. Okay. Leah, you may need to
have a word.
let me know if this goes into the event.
Okay.
At the same time.
I will have a look.
It's all technology, guys, all technology. There we go.
Yeah, now I've got it from both sides of the ocean. Okay. Is this working?
Is it definitely working?
No, I got
not come up in the group, so we're going to double check. We're not going to start just yet, because I don't want you to miss any golden gems. Oh,
yeah.
I know it's working on my page. We just need to make sure that it's working in this fantastic event, because I know you have a lot of people online.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure that it is live.
Okay.
If anyone is in the actual event itself, do let us know.
Well, I'm getting questions from people about whether or not it's happening. So I know that somebody is there.
Right. So I'm going to try another way to copy and paste this into the group. Thanks for liking this video. I don't think we've done anything yet, but really appreciate it. Thanks for the love and support. Okay, here we go. Copy the link. Let me double check. It's so much easier on the practice.
Yeah, it seems so, but you know.
Book launch. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for coming in. For some reason, the book launch has decided that it's not going to come up on my screen.
Okay. Can we go into the page? Just put it into the page itself.
Bear with me. Live online book launch. Well, we want it to be live. Okay. Okay, here we go. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. You are absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, I wish I need a PA. Okay, here we go. We are live. Hooray! So yay! I just need to make sure I'm monitoring it on my page and in the group. Not easy, is it? No. Okay, so thank you everybody for coming in. You are absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your patience. Today is a really, really exciting day. Why? Because it is the release, official published date of Leah Bailey's debut book, between hindsight and foresight. So hello, how are you doing, Leah?
I am good. I am a little bit, excited because this has been a long time coming. Really,
Exciting.
really been, yeah. I'm very excited.
Journey.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, because I know that you've wanted to be an author for a while now, how does it now feel to be a published author? This is the launch of your book. This is the day.
It feels a little like unreal. And I think like most people, that want to be writers or that want to be poets or want to be published, I'm feeling a little bit like of that imposter syndrome thing of like, this can't really be happening. And oh my gosh, what if they don't like it? Or what if they don't read it? Or what if they're only, it's only my friends and my family that get it, and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of that nerves with it, but just like other people who want to be published and who want to be writing, there are important things in there that I want out in the world. And so it's that kind of balancing act between being nervous and worried about whether or not anybody will like it and that feeling to create that I have.
Yeah. I think you're definitely not alone. I think a lot of people definitely go through that as well. They have this fear. You have the passion, then you have the fear behind it, and then you release it. It's this sense of vulnerability, because this is something that's really important to you, isn't it? It's very close to your heart. So is writing something you've always done? Have you always loved writing?
I think I've always loved stories. I mean, I can, we joke about stuff in schools and like people getting in trouble in schools and things. The only time I was ever sent to the principal was to read to the principal. Like, ever. Yeah. So, and I was that child who would like try and finish her work early so she'd get sent to the library. Like, with the one with the librarian tearing his hair out, trying to figure out where to point me next, that was me. So I have always loved stories and being able to go somewhere else in my imagination. I know that my mom read me fairy tales until I could read them myself, and all of that. So when I was able to put my words onto the page, when I wanted to express my own feelings and my own thoughts, it was just a natural thing. It was definitely something I wanted to happen, and I finally made it occur when I put the stuff down on the page. And then now you have helped me make it a reality. So yeah, I have always wanted to write, always wanted to tell stories and put poems down and create pictures for people. So.
I think we definitely would have been very good friends in school, because I also love writing, but I love the escapism of it. I love reading as well, and I loved traveling to different lands and just expanding my mind and creativity. So I guess I ask you, what was it that drew you to writing and reading? And we've got someone here. Chalky White says, many congrats on the launch, Leah. Can't wait for the book to arrive. Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think reading was always a passion. Like always, and still is. I read constantly, but writing became more important to me when I became a teenager. And I used it, as many people do, as catharsis, kind of like a therapy. Once you kind of work out how to say something and you say it, then you're done with it. And so I was doing that with my poems. If I was feeling something extremely good or extremely bad and I wanted to preserve it or, get it out of my head, I would write it down in a poem, some more successful than others. But, once it was in the poem, then I could leave it go. Then I could have it be that catharsis.
Yeah.
And, and feel better about it. Sometimes I would see friends that were going through some of the same stuff, and I might, if they were close friends, I would share my poem and, help them feel, that they weren't by themselves, that everybody felt it. So they could see that I had felt that way and share that connection. So when I started writing, that was the thing.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a real element of I can't say the word, catharsis when you're writing. And it's almost like it's self-healing. thing. It definitely was in terms of when I wrote, and from what I read and what I know of you as well. So let's think about the times that we're in at the moment, and especially with the rise of mental health. Would you say that writing is a really good way to channel some of your feelings and to help you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that a lot of therapists recommend, that you keep writing journals, that you keep diaries and things like that. It's something that I always found very helpful and therapeutic to me, to keep those poems going, to keep the writing going. I have a load of friends that I know use it in that therapeutic way, to just kind of put their demons on the paper.
Yeah.
I have, from adult groups that I've been with writing groups and poetry groups. The live stream I did last Monday on the Sonnet seminar, I've done that before with adult groups where they find release in poetry. And I've done clubs at schools as a teacher with teenagers. And I mean, some of the best moments I've ever had as a teacher were in the after school club, where a student found their voice through everyone has something important to say. Everyone's voice is valid. Everyone's feelings are valid. And some of my best moments as a teacher were when a student of mine was in the club, in the writing club, and found their voice through poetry or through writing. It's so necessary, especially now. So yeah, it's connecting. It's great.
Thank you so much. I can definitely relate to that aspect of, being a teacher and seeing young people find their voice through their writing as well. Okay. Cheers to that. Cheers.
Cheers to that. Definitely.
So we've got a couple of people online, and if you've just tuned in, you have tuned into Leah Bailey's amazing book launch, online book launch. There will be an in-person book launch when we know what is going on, but right now we're doing an online book launch, which is amazing because we get to connect to people all over the world, literally globally, all at one time. So my name is Daniela Blechner, author, book journey mentor, founder of Conscious Dreams Publishing. We worked with the lovely Leah, who is now a published author, to publish her book. And we've got some people on. This is an interactive book launch. So if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to throw them up. I can now see them. So Mame says, amazing stuff. Her daughter's one of our authors. Christine says, congratulations, my beautiful friend. I'm so proud of you. Chris says, congratulations on the launch finally happening. Enjoying reading the Kindle version today. So that's one, some good feedback already.
Yeah, that would be my crazy friend who waited till midnight to see if it would download.
We all need friends like that. Joe says, congratulations. Really looking forward to reading your book. Kit says, congratulations. Catherine says, congratulations. Julie says, exciting. Sandra says, hello, angels. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. If you could please invite people from this event to come in, that would be amazing, because I've just about worked out how to put it in the event. So if you could invite some people and share this out as well, that would be fantastic. Thank you. So Leah, let's just delve into, before we can delve into the book, let's go into your career path of teaching. And I know in the book there is a poem that's inspired by being a teacher. So tell me, first of all, have you always wanted to be a teacher, and what drew you to that role?
Okay, well, I mean, it's been like many pathways, like many walks, it's been a zigzag rather than a straight line. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I had two career paths that I was looking into, one of which was being a minister, like a Presbyterian Protestant minister, and one of which was being an English teacher. Both my parents are teachers. My sister is a teacher. It's in the family. And I loved it. But when I was a teenager, I was heavily involved in my church, in my youth group. And my pastor at the time ran the youth group really, really well. And I had a really difficult time as a teenager, like many teenagers do. And poems like Broken Mask, poems like The Dark Place, those are all from those kind of harder, more difficult times. And so I decided, as I was getting older as a teenager, to be on my pastoral nominating committee, because I was going to go and be a minister, and I was going to go and do that for someone else. I was going to be that pastor that was there for them. I was going to create the youth group and help the youth of the church the way my pastor helped me, along with my family. You know, that support. That's what I wanted to do. Now, as I got older, I mean, I went through all the processes of getting the letters and recommendations and figuring out what I had to do that pathway. And then I went to university and I'm doing an English degree. And part of the problem was I was a home person. I really wanted to have a home and a family and all of those things. And I knew that if I was a minister, I would probably have to move every 4 years, because that was like the average day of a minister.
Yeah.
And you know, and so at the time I thought, okay, well, I'll go and I'll be a teacher, and that will be the same job that I want to do, working with the youth, but using different tools. And I might be able to kind of establish myself in one place for much longer. Now, you know, obviously things change and things work out differently, but I've since I made that decision to go and be a teacher, I've never looked back. And I've never been happier than I am right now as a teacher, helping teenagers with challenges, you know, do what they do best, which is learn and grow and be that. So I've always wanted to help young people through difficult things that I faced. Like my family helped me, and like my teachers helped me, and my minister helped me. All of this, I wanted to pay it forward. So that was the career path. I went through a long time wanting to be a minister, and then turned that into wanting to be a teacher. And now that's what I do. I'd never want to do anything else.
Lovely. And also the fact that you love English as well. We didn't say that. If you hadn't have guessed it, Leah teaches English. So there must be a love of literature there. Or tell me, why English? Why is that? What do you love about teaching English?
Well, I think it goes back to what I was saying before about stories. Yeah. I love how you can disappear in a book or disappear into a story. You can become the hero with the flaming sword that rides the dragon into, you know, the where, or you could hop on the submarine and explore the unknown world with Captain Nemo, or you can build the robots with Asimov, or you can, you know, there's so many different things that you can do in a book that you can't do anywhere else. And even books that are like historical fiction, they help you learn and explore more about the history that of your world and society, and get you thinking about things that you might not. I'm also a media studies teacher. So I don't teach it at the moment, but it's the same with TV and film and books. I love literature because it helps us explore the human condition, makes us think about who we are and why we're that person and why we're not a different person. And is there something else we'd like to be, you know? And I love that aspect of stories and characters. It's just fun to be someone else, even if it's only for a short period of time.
Yeah. Totally relate. Fantastic. Let's crack into the book then. So your book's called Between Hindsight and Foresight. So, and obviously poems from my walk. So tell us a little bit about that title. Where did you come up with that, and what's the meaning behind it?
Well, it wasn't the original title.
No.
I had a different idea for the title. And then there was, when I was closing in on calling you and closing in on submitting the manuscript, I thought, okay, well, if this works out, maybe I'll do something else. And then that title popped into my head for what would be the next project. Kat, I'll get to that question in a minute. But yeah, so I had a different title in mind. But Between Hindsight and Foresight, when I looked at the manuscript I was going to submit to you, seemed more appropriate, because all of these poems in here are the things that I've written between the time I was like 14 and like 4 months ago, 6 months ago. That's what those poems are. So it seemed to be on my current path. I was looking behind me for the material that was good from before, and I was looking forward to what I could learn now or anticipate for what was coming next. So the title just kind of Between Hindsight and Foresight, what we look back on and what we predict to happen next, just seemed really appropriate for a poetry collection of poetry I've been doing for 20 years. Just seems
perfect.
Yeah, it
Thank
seemed to
you.
resonate.
Thank you. I think that really clearly explains the title there. Catherine asked, what made you go into poetry rather than short stories or novels?
I've never been very good at finishing short stories. I have been able to start short stories and especially descriptive passages, whether I'm at work helping students with descriptive passages or not. I've just never been good at finishing short stories. But as far as the novel goes, well, funny you should ask. There, from the same time that I was writing poetry, I had an idea for a novel, and I do have the original manuscript. I have the rewrite I started when I was 25, so I do have a novel idea, and I inch closer to doing something about that novel every day. I finally got around to putting it off the shelf. And this is
possibly a book 2 coming out then.
This is the folder. This is the novel folder with the manuscript and the skeleton of the characters and all that stuff. So it's right over there waiting for me to, like, you know, get down to actually making something of it. But that's another thing I've wanted for a good 20 years. So now maybe with this and the confidence I've gotten from working with you, maybe I can, you know, get to grips with it and finish the novel.
And you said it on live now, so the public domain. So accountability. Yeah. Catherine, get on her. She said she's going to do another book. She showed us the folder. So your subtitle is Poems from My Walk. So this sounds silly. Were these poems inspired for your walk, or is that more of a metaphor for a journey?
It's an absolute metaphor. When I had the title, I had the suggestion from the lovely Julia Smith that I should possibly indicate that it was a poetry anthology as opposed to a self-help novel or something else that might have been indicated by the title. I don't like the word anthology because it just didn't do it for me, because anthology suggests something academic, something a little bit too... Makes you think
of the poems that you get the kids to study at school, for me anyway.
Yeah, it was just something that was, I wanted something more personal. I wanted something a little bit more mysterious, but I knew that she was right. Julie, yes, absolutely right. I need to tell people that there are poems in there. So, but I went with Poems from My Walk because, like I was saying, it's about looking back and looking forward, because we're all kind of walking a pathway. We're all walking on a road to get to where we're going. And so since this collection of poetry covers everything I've lived so far, then it seemed logical that, you know, poems from my walk, every step I've taken, things that I've kind of gone through or gone over or gone past, seem to be, and there's quite a lot in there that talks about movement and talks about going through things. So like the second poem is Journeys, and there's like the behind the poem story on Journeys that's there. There's you know, a couple of poems like the one that comes after Dark Place, which I have it here.
It's the contents page. Shout out to Julie while you do that for introducing me to the lovely Leah. So thank you so much for that. We've all come from the teaching world.
Yeah.
So what did you remember the name of the poem?
Yes. It's here in the thing. So the inner strength was again with a metaphor. And so there's a lot of poems in there that cover that metaphor of making a journey, both mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, traveling from place to place. I've literally traveled from a little tiny itty bitty town in Warminster, like Ivyland, Pennsylvania, where I grew up, which is 5 streets by 5.5 streets in and I've traveled from there to Penn State, to England, to Germany as an exchange student. Like I've traveled so much from where I started, but every inch of that path has made me who I am. So I think that whole kind of metaphor of walking together, like connecting with people along the way that feel the same thing I do, and making that journey. is a really important metaphor when you deal with poetry. It's where you are when you are.
One of the things that you mentioned the word connecting, and one of the things that I loved about your poetry was they're also different. You've got really funny ones, you've got some really poignant ones, you've got some very nostalgic, reflective ones, but just sticking on this idea of sort of connections and connecting. And I think humans, one of our greatest needs is to feel, to connect, to feel loved. And as you know, one of my favorite poems is Artist in a Bar. And you're very similar in the sense that when you're writing, you're coming from an observing humanity or people or situations.
Yeah.
And I love that style of writing. I love that observationist style of writing. But would you say you have a specific style, or you have a specific, are you inspired by what you see, or sometimes are they things that just come to your mind?
I am inspired by what I see and feel at particular moments, like snapshots. Almost literally, like Boots in the Lamplight was literally, I'm standing on a sidewalk going home and there's two boots in like the lamplight, and that just struck something in my head. So I get these random stray ideas and daydreams. So yeah, I write from a place of observation, but that observation goes in tons of different directions. Sometimes it's what I see in front of me. Sometimes it's what I feel inside while I'm in a certain space or in a certain moment. And if something moves me enough, I feel the need to get it on the page. Now, some ideas are more assertive than others. Obviously, they poke at my imagination until I actually write them down. I wouldn't say I have a set style. I like challenging myself. I really like challenging myself with picking a particular form. That's got to be the whole academic English teacher in me. I had a whole sonnet phase. I mean, there's like 4 sonnets in the book. But
can we just explain, just in case, because we might have a wide range of different people, what is a sonnet, first of all?
Okay, so a sonnet is a specific form of poetry that has 14 lines. And it has a certain set of rules about where it rhymes, how many syllables are in each line, and the type of topic that it usually covers. Shakespeare made it famous. He wrote 154 of them, and he put lots of them in his plays. So it's a specific form of poetry that I especially like, because every syllable counts. And you take this huge idea that's like driving you crazy, and you squish it into this little box where it forces you to be more creative, and it forces you to be more selective, because every syllable counts, every word counts, and so therefore carries more weight and more meaning. So I like to challenge myself occasionally by using a specific form, like a sonnet, like some of the other ones that are in there. But occasionally something is so emotive or moving that I write it down without a form first. And then if that feels right, if it feels right to not have a form for it, then I leave it that way.
Yeah.
But occasionally I will write the idea down, and then I want to make it more technical. And then I go back and I redraft it because it feels right to do so, or because I want to challenge myself. But usually the idea and the form and the style go all together. This sound really arrogant, but you know how there's some kind of urban legend about David who used to say the shape was already in the marble. He just got rid of the rubbish.
Right.
I think it's the same with poetry and writing and ideas, not just for me, but for other artists. The words are already there. You just have to find them and put them in the right order.
Yeah, 100%. I can see how amazing you'd be in the classroom. Leah actually came into, we've got a group called The Right Group, Women Remain Inspired to Elevate, and actually came in on Monday and did a whole online workshop, a talk, one of your very first one, actually, really good, about the difference between sonnets and what were the other forms you were talking about in there?
I'm going to do a live one in The Right Group on Monday for haiku, which is not actually a form I use in the book, in this one, but there are 4 villanelles in here, which is an old form, but most people know the Dylan Thomas one, rage against the dying of the light. That's a form called a villanelle, which is really annoying and difficult to write. And, there's free verse, and which does still have a rhythm. There's like ballads, which are story poems.
Yep.
So there's lots of different forms that you can use. And, obviously the free verse has the least set rules, but it still has to feel like a poem. I get lots of my students talking about how poems need to rhyme. If they don't rhyme, they're not a poem.
No, they don't.
Yeah, no, they don't. That's not true.
They don't.
We'll just set that right now. It's not true.
Yeah.
It has to feel like a poem. It has to have that rhythm and that kind of stuff.
100%. Okay, so Gerard says, it says it's a very informative. Jermaine says it was a very informative session. So Jermaine's in the right group, also a poet. Her book's going to be coming out soon. Says it was very informative. Thank you. Great interview, Leah, says Patricia. Awesome. Sarah says, can't wait to read your poetry. We love you so much and miss you. Can't wait to see you. That's lovely. Yeah. Jerome's asking, which location in your travels inspired you the most?
Natural places inspire me the most. Actually, two extremes, natural places and churches. They both, like, for some reason, like the Gothic buildings, castles, anything old, like that has a history and a life to it. Like when you walk in something that's been standing for 2,000 years, you feel everyone who's been there before. Like it's just there, and you start to imagine what happened in that corner and what happened on that bench, and so the two places that inspire me most would have to be the natural world, trees and forests and mountains, and the ancient world. One of the new projects I'm working on was Rome. I have like a whole new thing that I'm working on at the moment with Rome, because just being there with literally millennia of history was inspiring. So
no fictional places, Kit says. Kit winding you up here.
Yeah, probably a little bit. Yeah, there are a couple of poems that are inspired by some fictional places. There are some characters that people that are probably watching know. I do a hobby called live action role play, where you go and you be someone else for a weekend. And so there are fictional characters that I have played that have kind of bled back into my real life, their personalities and their spirits. There's at least 2 poems in the collection that come from the mental place of a character I've played. Yeah.
They had, okay.
Yeah, they're doing
it. Can't wait to read. All right, so let's crack into some of the poems. I want to go back to what we talked about before, which is connection. And part of what I liked about Artists in the Bar was that, in your aloneness in that bar, the atmosphere will change and you could feel the connection. So tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind it, and can you share that with us?
Yes, I can.
So do we want to hear some poetry from Leah? I'd love to see some hearts go up and down on the screen, or some reactions, some nice emojis, just to give us a bit of encouragement. Yes, we want some poetry from Leah. So yes, please let us know.
Okay, so you're talking about Artists in the Bar. I did that behind the poem story about Artists in the Bar, but that's my writing place. That's my writing hole. And part of the thing with Artists in the Bar was that I was stuck. I go for 2 hours once a week to this place to hang out and listen to the music and the atmosphere and possibly get some writing done. And on a good night, I can get 4 poems done in 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
On a bad night, or a bad writing night, I don't get any done, or I could get 2 done. But I always enjoy myself. Yeah, people are asking for the poem now, but yes. So the Artists in the Bar, I was having one of those nights where I wanted to write, but I couldn't think of anything, and I wasn't getting an inspiration. I was stuck. I was absolutely dead stuck. And then literally like an electric shock. The piano player, the piano player started, and suddenly it made me smile because I recognized the song, I enjoyed the song, and then everybody in the bar starts singing the song, and and then it was song after song after song. So I enjoyed the first song, and then when he moved on to another one I recognized the intro of, and another one I recognized the intro of, suddenly I had my idea. It was that connection, that changing the mood of the room and inspiring everybody to kind of join in and that kind of stuff. So that connection with the artist, and I was in eye line with the piano player, and I'm there often enough that the piano player, the staff, they know I'm a regular, and when he saw that I recognized the song after song after song, we started sharing like sneaky smiles, like across while he was doing his intro and stuff like that. So it's like he knew I recognized it. He knew I was enjoying it. I knew he was doing it on purpose, sticking with a similar kind of set of songs to kind of get people going. So it became that kind of mutual respect. And it took me, my handwriting was really bad on the first draft because I had to get the idea down. As soon as the idea occurred and I busted through that writer's block, I had to get it on the thing. So yeah. So
let's hear the poem. Come on.
All right. So
Thank you so much for that. For the behind the scenes inspiration.
I'm assuming the artist in the bar is the one we want to hear then.
Yes, please. Jermaine says, Rome is beautiful. I just stood there and I could feel so much emotions from the atmosphere, buildings and history. Lovely.
Yeah, it soaks up through the soles of your feet. And you can see everything everywhere. And I'm just having trouble finding it in the book. I know it's here.
I think we need a drum roll.
Yes. There we go. It's still a very kind of surreal experience to have to look through a table of contents to find the page number for your work. It's nice. a surreal but great kind of moment. Okay, so artist in a bar. I have this place I go to write. Quiet or crazy, it's a good place. The staff know I'm a regular, decent food, decent drinks, enough to blow through the writer's blocks. A new musician begins. I'm used to the other. Good tunes, knows his stuff, sweet voice, good guitar. I guess I wasn't paying attention. Then the first notes hit, and now a smile spreads unbidden and unstoppable across my face. I recognize the intro. Everyone singing along is a decade too young. But so is the piano player. But as he catches my eye across the bar, sees that recognition, knows I know the tune, I suddenly don't care. What's a decade anyway? In that moment of recognition, two artists in a bar, I throw back my head and laugh. Another regular beats me to the punch of buying him a drink. Maybe later, if he wants one. The conspiracy continues as I recognize intro after intro, singing along and smiling, appreciation. I'm still searching, trying to nail down my idea. Then it hits me. Two artists in a bar. Eyes meet, first few notes, and now a smile spreads, unbidden and unstoppable.
Lovely! Didn't we love that? So you've got hearts coming up. Yes! Awesome. Thank you. Let's have some more. What's your favorite poem that you've written?
It's like picking a child. Because they all have different
get it
purposes and points in my life. I'd have to say that if I had to pick a favorite, and I know Kat asked this a while ago, if I had a favorite, I do have a favorite in the collection, but it's not one I can read like the whole one on because it's the longest poem I've ever written.
Oh right, yeah, I love this one.
Yeah. So it comes from this necklace. A few years ago, my mother, in her lovely emotional wisdom, as she does very well, she gave me the necklace with coordinates in. So they're proper longitude and latitude coordinates. And there's somewhere on Etsy where you can do this kind of thing. You give the birthday, you give the birthday of the person, you give the location, the address, and they will etch onto a necklace the exact dates in Roman numerals or coordinates of a specific place. And I open the box and I see the necklace as my Christmas present, and I just start with the tearing up. And my mother goes and she's like, let me explain. I was like, no, I know, I get it. I didn't need to explain. And as she explained, I was going to start crying. So it's the exact longitude and latitude of my house that I grew up in the States. So the coordinates in the book, as the title, obviously have been redacted, but the poem title is The Coordinates. And then the last line of the poem is Coordinates of Home. And the entire poem is my favorite poem I've ever written, because it's a walk through my memory. First, physically, through my house that I grew up in. Every room, every step, every creak, every funny door, every, space. And then as I walk through the house, and until I get through the whole house and describe the whole house physically, then the memories start coming up. So Christmases, Thanksgivings, Easters, swimming parties for birthdays. This poem encapsulates everything that makes home for me. And so it is my favorite poem that I have ever written. It is the longest poem I've ever written. And it was always the longest poem I've ever written. It was 7 pages A4 to start. And then it got longer when I started to add in more memories that had meaning and held that for me. And it was hilarious. People that read it before I submitted it in manuscript were like, yeah, there are 2 things. This is really great and really visual and photographic, imagery wise, but also you can really tell you're American.
Yeah.
There are some images that are just so American.
Yeah. I only got that at the end, because I don't know if we'd spoken before, but I wasn't sure, I didn't know you were American. I was like, yeah, definitely.
Well, it is the last poem, so it's one of those things. And because it's the last poem on purpose, when I first contacted you, it was like, I've got a set order, but I'm not really, attached to the order of the poems in the book. If you think there's a different order they could be in, but the last poem has to stay the last poem, because at the end of every road, you always just go home.
Yeah, I love that. Are you going to share a little bit, maybe a few verses?
Yeah, I can share a little bit, but it's it's several pages long, so I don't think that's
just two verses, and then, ladies and gents, if you're watching, you need to go and buy the book. I'll put a link to the book in the comments as well.
Yeah. Okay, so do we want to hear the bit from the physical description or the bit from the memories, ladies and gents?
Ladies and gents.
Yes, please. So I guess that's a both kind of thing. Okay, so there we go. Well, I think I've got.
Talking thing. Can you do it with an English accent?
No, because this one is the American one. Okay, so we're going
memories, Christine. Yeah, they're asking for memories.
Okay, so then so here we go. This is the memories are the second half of the poem. So I'm going to start with the summers bit. My screen just changed, so everybody can still see me? Yeah? Okay. Okay, so summers peeling corn on the back steps, dog going crazy in the yard, scaring rabbits and town kids. More terrier than terrifying. Not that she knew. Memorial Day parades, first watching in childhood, not understood, then performed before or after my birthdays, topped with Mom's strawberry shortcake as only she can make it, with barbecues by the pool, running through sprinklers and backyards, playing tag and manhunt until it's too dark or the voices call us home for dinner. Autumn's decorating the graveyard, spreading spider webs, lighting candles, sneaking sweets, spilling secrets so the witch could tell my friends' fortunes with mysterious accuracy. How they never caught on, I'll never know. Or maybe they did, but pretended the magic of the witching hour. Crunching leaves of every color piled high, and that smell. Nothing like that smell. Nothing like that smell. Not good, not bad, fresh and natural. Shifting sounds, cicadas in the wind, having left their alien shells hanging lifelike from the bark. New school year, new challenges, with energy growing as the light dims. Winters by the fireplace, smelling wood smoke, knowing warmth, watching snow, hibernating. Sledging down the small hill, down the road, drying mittens and socks and numb fingers on the grate of the fireplace. Crackling and ash, glow and embers like magic, like tongues licking my clothes, in the same way it licks the wood in the grate. The smell of baking and cooking filling the house for what seems like a month, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, between friends and family. The warmth of company, chasing out the cold of the outside. Hot chocolate, Jell-O in antique glasses, and mulled wine. Board games that end in peals of laughter, no matter who wins. If anyone is even keeping score. I'm gonna leave it there. There's more after and lots before, but that's it. You're gonna have to, if you want the full poem, if you want the full poem, you're gonna have to get the book.
Thank you so much. I put the link in the comments there so you can get your books. Do leave a review on Amazon. Amazon always helps. Leaving reviews really helps the visibility of authors as well and credibility. So that'd be amazing. Hope you all enjoyed that. I'm going to ask you a few questions about the process of publishing your book. So what were your expectations, and talk to us a little bit about the process? Obviously not me, because I know, but for someone who hasn't written a book before.
Well, I mean, I've been gathering everything together for some time. Obviously, the poems have been written for a very, very long time. And then I got it into my head that I had to stop wishing about it and start doing something about it. And so I started investigating whether I should go through a self-publishing kind of concept, or whether I should submit cover letters and individual poems or samples to publishing houses or things like that. For years, I've been trying to submit some of these poems to poetry magazines and anthologies and things like that, because everybody told me that was the way to get myself published, was to get known and get published in magazines. But I also knew that publishers will sometimes not publish something that's already been published somewhere else. So I was afraid to put it out there, and I was also afraid not to put it out there. So that's what stalled me for so long on getting it published. Then finally I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. I'll do it myself. Self-publishing was becoming more of a thing, and so more popular. And so I started gathering and trying to get it into order. And I started running it by some friends of mine. Some of my pre-readers are on the list watching today. They've read one or two or, a few over time. And so, and helped me a little bit with the order. And eventually I just kind of went with my gut and put everything together. So once I had the actual manuscript and it was done and it was ready, and I started looking into then I got stalled with the illustration thing. I didn't know whether I should put in photographs or illustrations, whether I should pay an illustrator to do a certain set number of them, because a lot of my poems are very visual. And so that stalled me for a long while. Whether I should or shouldn't, whether I should pay for this or not pay for this. And, and then I started to despair that I would ever actually get it off the ground because I didn't understand any of it. And I looked at the website, and a lot of the numbers on royalties and what they take for providing you a platform was really scary, especially like Kindle Direct Publishing, I didn't understand the numbers, and I didn't understand the technicalities of it. And so I didn't even know where I would even begin. And so very helpfully, a friend of mine pipes up, and I know somebody who runs a small publishing house, and they do consultations. So, the consultations don't cost anything. So why don't you just, get a consult and see what happens? And so I called Conscious Dreams. I got the half-hour consultation where we discussed my reasons for writing the poems, my reasons for wanting to publish, my reasons for wanting to put it out there, and the idea of how I wanted to do it. And it was such a relief when I hung up that phone call, because I felt like I had talked to somebody who knew what they were doing, where I clearly had no idea. And then after that process finished, when the decision was made that I would submit the manuscript and we would go that route, then it was all just kind of leaving it in the hands of the professionals and making decisions on typesetting and making decisions on the cover and the cover art and the script on the cover, and writing the author page and writing the back of the book, and each step, knowing that what I was producing was another kind of piece to it. But what I will remember from this process more than anything is that having someone who knows what they're doing helped immensely. Because I could just let go and just be happy that the art was going to be out there. Because as far as business and sort of thing, I didn't want to put this out there for the money. I wanted to put it out there to connect with people. And I wanted to put it out there for the poems to be out in that kind of cathartic sense of the world. I wanted to offer that out to the world, but I didn't know how to do it. And so using the process that you have at Conscious Dreams was immensely helpful to me, because it took the stress out of it. You knew what you were doing. And so all I had to do was make the decisions that you offered me. And then it's real, it's physical, it's in my hand. I can hold it, and I can send it, and I can share it. And so that part of the process, it became a lot easier once I made that decision to call Conscious Dreams and let the professionals know what they're doing, get on with it. So that process took a quarter of the time from when I decided that I definitely wanted to publish and I definitely wanted to make it happen. I wasn't going to wait any longer. So the publishing process, from the moment I made the phone call to Conscious Dreams till now that the book is finally launched and physical, that process is about a quarter of the time from when I started trying to get it together myself. So it's cut it down intensely.
Yay! And let's see your book. Let's see your finished product. Amazing!
I love it. My book.
Love it. I can't wait for mine. I'm still waiting for my proof copy to come through, so I'm really excited about that. Any final words? I could talk to you all day, Leah. But what would you say to somebody who has a dream, similar to you? Maybe they've always wanted to be a writer, and then they've found reasons, or they've become stuck in it. It might even be setting up a business or doing something different, that investing their passion in something they really want to do, but they're stuck. What would you say to them?
Okay, well, I mean, something like 15, 16 years ago, I got some advice from an author that I respect. I asked him, I said, how do you put yourself out there when there's already so much out there that's good? And I think that applies to any writing or any art or any business venture, anything you feel passionate about. We're all afraid to start and fail. And we're all afraid to put it out there and have it not succeed. But that's not how it is. Every single person on this planet, if you're passionate about it, if it moves you, it's going to move someone else. So the advice I got from this author, because I was talking about imposter syndrome, that feeling that you shouldn't do it because there's probably already somebody who's had that idea, was just write, do things, finish things, and just get it done. And so I would probably give that advice to anybody who feels passionate about something. Someone will feel that passion. Someone will need it, that you don't even know that they need it. They don't even know that they need it. But if it matters to you, it's going to matter to someone else. And so find a way to do it. Talk to people who know what they're doing. Talk to other people who have done it. Get their experiences, get their view on the process. Don't, and I had 5 different viewpoints from people about self-publishing. Some were positive, some were negative, but you get the viewpoints and then you find someone who you connect with that is talking the same language you are and just move forward from there. Because, there's too much obsession with failure. We don't learn from success, we learn from failure. And if you don't try is the only guaranteed way to fail because you haven't bothered trying. If you try and fail, then at least you gave it a shot. Like at least you gave it a chance to succeed. And I would say that for writing, for art, for entrepreneurship, for building a better mousetrap, just give it a shot. The worst that can do is it sets you back to where you are now, and then you're no worse off. So thank you to everyone who has supported me in this process and supported my page and shared my page and all of that. Thank you so much to everybody who's reading my book and walking through my brain and my experiences. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find something of value there, because I'd love to hear from you. And I will be continuing the behind the poem stories. I may even put a poll on the page, and you guys get to pick which story you hear. So I'll give you a choice every week of what poem you want to hear about, and you tell me which story to tell.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just finish off, how can people connect with you if you are meeting Leah for the first time? How can they connect with you?
There is a Facebook page dedicated to the book Between Hindsight and Foresight. It's an open public page covering with the book label. And I can respond to messages there. All of the inspiration from the poems, photographs and events, future events that might take place will all be advertised there on that page. I am working on other platforms, possibly Discord, possibly Instagram. I'm trying to be talked into this whole expanded social media thing, but as may be apparent, I'm not great with technology. I like, I like my technology like I like my literature pre-1900, but hopefully I will be expanding that. But the easiest way to get hold of me now is through the Facebook page for the book Between Hindsight and Foresight.
Thank you so much, Leah. You've been amazing. You're an absolute inspiration, and the kids are lucky to have you as your teacher. So, and now when you walk into that classroom, you can say, I am a teacher and a published author. How amazing is that?
Yeah.
Read a poem to your form class or to your class as a little break.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I read it in the writing clubs, and I read it in the lessons, and yeah. They're probably sick of it by now.
Yeah, but now you're reading from an actual book. But thank you so much, Leah, and thank you everyone for coming in and the amazing support. Please do let people know about Leah Bailey and her amazing book, Between Hindsight and Foresight. And if you have a passion, maybe you want to write a book, perhaps you've got an idea for whatever that is, just use this time now to really invest in your passions. As Leah says, you don't know until you actually do it. So have a lovely evening all. Bye.
Bye.